Hey guys, don't get a lawyer, get an advocate. Have you seen those commercials? Hint, I'm in one of them, so you better have. Just full disclosure, I just love these guys. I have Josh Dunyan here. You got the R in the middle of your name, Joshua R. Dunyan,
That's
attorney
right.
with the Utah Advocates. And you guys are really into being like the accessible attorneys.
That we are. We take pride in literally being people's advocates, being there for them really during some of their hardest times in life.
Well,
So,
and let's talk about that because the news is really heavy right now with coronavirus, and we're kind of distracted. We're dealing with a lot of anxiety, and that can translate into, being in your car and not paying attention. And I hope this doesn't happen, but a personal injury suit has to happen because someone got in a crash because they weren't thinking. But we just want to take a moment to recenter ourselves.
Yeah.
What do you think we need to do before we get in the car right now with our mental state?
that's a really good question, Amanda. I would say one of the things we need to focus on is being reasonable when we drive, being careful and cautious. Right now with society, we're seeing a lot of different changes. Organizations are saying, hey, we should stay home or we shouldn't be in large gatherings. And really the reason why that's happening is because these organizations are taking precautions. They want to make sure that no one gets sick. And so as drivers, we should do the same thing, right? This time of year with springtime.
What happens in springtime that makes driving a little more treacherous?
Yeah, and that's a good question. I think what happens is it's Utah weather. We've heard about Utah weather. One day it's snowing and sleeting, and the next day it's sunny and it's good weather outside.
Shorts or a sweater? We don't know in spring.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So, on those bad days where it is, we wake up and it's raining, we got to be careful. Could our vehicle hydroplane, or is there ice? Are we giving the vehicle in front of us enough room to avoid any sort of rear end or collisions?
Now talk about, you probably deal with some cases where there's pedestrians or bicyclists involved with the car. How do we make sure that we are checking all around? Do you have some good practices to follow?
Yeah.
Especially with kids getting out into the nice weather, getting on their bikes, walking around.
Yeah, to answer that question, we just need to always be aware of our surroundings. And, all of us have been impacted by an injury, or someone who's been hit by a bicycle, or someone who's been a pedestrian and been hit by a car. I know in my family, my father's little brother was ran over by a vehicle. And so
I'm so sorry.
And that's okay. It's a story that now my father's told me, but we're all impacted by this. And so we just need to be very cautious of our surroundings.
Yes.
And luckily nowadays we have backup cams and things that can help us, but we as individuals need to make sure that we're very cautious and that we're reasonable people.
Yes. Well, speaking of reasonable people, the Utah Advocates, you have a certain philosophy. You guys are very accessible. What does somebody expect when they pick up the phone to call you after they've been in an accident?
Yeah. When you're in an accident, oftentimes you don't know what to do. And oftentimes you're getting phone calls from multiple different insurance companies, and you don't necessarily know how to respond to those insurance companies.
They start grilling you, by the way.
They do.
And you don't know what to say.
That's exactly it.
So they call you and you are like, no, this is good to say, this is probably not so much.
Yeah, and oftentimes the answer is when an individual's been in an accident and it's not their fault, oftentimes they can call us. We will then be retained, and at that time we can kind of lighten their load. We can take away these phone calls. We can take away the pressure of, they want a recorded statement, and we can then advocate on their behalf.
Okay. Give them the stress. They will take it, and they will take it with a smile on their face. Thank you, Joshua R. Dunyan. Where can we find the Utah Advocates? Let's see the
elbow bump. I like it. You can find us at utahadvocates.com, and also on our website and our phone number. We're always accessible.
We'll link it at fox13now.com. Looks like Buddha has some fun stuff over there.